Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bukowski Household. Again, I want to thank my lovely wife for actually filming this video. The chapter we're studying is electromagnetic induction. You have, besides the chapter itself, you have watched a video on how utilizing electromagnetic induction power gets into your home, a little bit on transformers. The scientist, to me, that's most really closely related to electromagnetic induction, and there's quite a few of them, is Nikola Tesla. He had over 100 patents, including the nanoid, which eventually became the technology for the internet. He had the first designs for the cell phone, things of that nature. But some of the electromagnetic stuff that he had done were the Tesla coil, which is a way of actually generating power. It's really a step-up transformer, which you can actually see an example of it in the Griffith Observatory, if you ever get a chance to go see that. Through the Westinghouse Corporation, who funded him, he was able to create the alternating current generator, which is what we actually use in our power plants nowadays to generate power and to send it to areas really over long distances, which he competed with DC and Edison over that. And it was proven that Edison's DC power did not work because it was really only for the very wealthy, and it was over very short distances. We'll talk about that another time. This is a really kind of small drawing. Hopefully my wife can focus in on this. Otherwise, I'm going to show you a bigger drawing another time. Using Tesla's AC generator, using a step-up transformer, you would send it through power lines up to 500,000 volts. And then once you get to businesses and houses, you can step it back down to 120 volts, 240 volts, or even 110 volts that we use. So that's his power transmission and how he was involved in that. Now, this last one, folks, is very interesting. This is a wireless energy tower that he had the idea in 1900, or shortly before that, actually. So we're talking over 120 years ago. And he was going to send power through the ground to create wireless energy, which really, they used this technology. He never finished it because of funding, unfortunately. But he used this technology, what we use today. You know what, guys? I've been to that factory. I think I know where it is. I wonder if it still exists. And I think the base of that, you know what, guys? Watch this video while I pack. We're going on a field trip. Let's go.
He was a spirit of rogue, experimental rebellion, disruptive of established existing systems with a goal of replacing them with something better. He locked out conventional thinking and was a provocative force to logical presumption. When we think of the great innovators, we see rare individuals who dare to think differently. But how often do we consider how they are alike? What common threads might they share? What connecting wisdom and traits unite them? In the essence of the innovator, we see intellectual freedom, passion, curiosity, but mostly a vision of unwavering boldness, a talent, a courage that one can only admire. Nikola Tesla embodied these daring qualities. He was a kind of alternative scientific artist, like a physics punk rocker. He had a different point of view. To start, Tesla saw himself not as an inventor, but as a discoverer. One that reveals solutions already in the framework of existence, to harness the wheelwork of nature, uncovering natural secrets rather than construction built on its limitations. Such an improvisational spirit of exploration led to the concepts of radio, radar, X-rays, robotics, remote control, and even early computer technology. In fact, his teleautomaton patent, in which a prototype was demonstrated at Madison Square Garden in 1898, it utilized patents for radio, wireless remote control, and a type of early logic circuit known as the nano A&D gate, which is sort of the key to binary code. Outside the garden, it was horse and buggy technology. Inside, there was a remote-controlled boat under intelligent control. Onlookers thought it was a trick and that Tesla had a trained monkey inside it. That's how unimaginable the concept was. But of all his innovations, it was his induction motor, a brushless engine that could efficiently run on alternate current electricity that revolutionized the status quo, propelling the world into an age of progress. Without it, most likely electric power would have been a rare luxury, only accessible to the wealthy. This motor, born of Tesla's fertile and untarnished imagination, was previously considered impossible by the scientific community, one not achievable through the laws of physics. One of his instructors called the idea a perpetual motion machine, something that could never exist. Tesla hacked through the perceived limitations of science and nature to move the world forward. He was a rogue scientist, and like many innovators, there's a certain mystique they possess. His unconventional application of physical principles created a sense of unease in the world around him. He was a genius with an amazing talent that you'd hope would be used for benevolence, one whose brilliance could reward the world with free wireless energy, or punish it with a death ray or earthquake machine. Fortunately for the world, Tesla played the role of a sort of white hat hacker, an insider for good. And in a way, one could describe his mission at Wardenclyffe as the ultimate hack, a way to disrupt the entire global system of energy and information to help the world evolve, to point out the flaws of an antiquated system and spark a movement of positive change, to battle the titans of power and usurp their control to place it into the hands of the people. At Wardenclyffe, he had promised J.P. Morgan a radio tower, but his covert plans were much more ambitious. Free wireless power to any place on the globe. With a 187-foot tower, he would send energy not through the air as his contemporaries were attempting, but through the Earth itself. Such a radical endeavor was far more expensive than Morgan's radio tower. As many innovators experience, new ideas sometimes bring a backlash, mockery, or even hatred. But they are compelled to move forward. They are undeterred by great risk. Sometimes they are unsuccessful. Or perhaps, sometimes the world just isn't ready yet. Many innovators see perceived failure as merely steps paving the way to greatness. Such failures wouldn't prevent Tesla from trying, and in some cases, triumphing over the accepted scientific dogma. For many, Tesla remains a true inspiration, an intellectual rebel, a scientific agitator, a fighter who violated the most respected preconceived notions of what was deemed possible. A slap in the face to a narrow-minded scientific consensus, one without vision or held back through a lack of experimental imagination. Tesla's spontaneous spirit of discovery joins him with the coolest radical trailblazers on the planet, who continue to launch an insurrection movement against the accepted societal norms. Like the visionaries of today, Tesla was so ahead of his time. Those who share an unyielding genius, and like the pioneers before them, possess an inner resolution, which leads to evolution, to create revolution. It is the binding spirit of innovation, the divergent differences that unite and move the world forward, giving form to the dreams of visionaries past.
Ready? All right, guys, so here we are. We made it to New York. We're in John F. Kennedy Airport. You can see some of the planes behind us, and we're heading to see the Tesla Museum. We'll see you there. All right, guys, we made it. So here we are in Long Island, New York. We are at Wardenclyffe, which is a big line Tesla line. It was built in 1901, as you can see. And if you turn the camera this way, you can see the center. And so let's go check it out, guys. What do you say? Come on. Okay, so guys, here we are in Long Island, like I said, and we are actually standing right here in front of the original laboratory that was built in 1901 that Mr. Tesla was using to develop a lot of his technologies. Certainly the Tesla coil for power transmission, but he was working on other projects as well. But you know what? There's a gentleman right here that can actually speak to you more about this, who is much more knowledgeable than I am and is involved in the project of actually bringing this back so school groups can come and we can share the just the amazing technologies and just wonderful things that Tesla had done to provide us with all the things that we actually have today. So I'm going to pass it over. This is Mr. Douglas Borges. I'm going to pass it over to him, and here you go, guys.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for checking us out. My name is Douglas Borges, and I'm the boring guy behind the scenes here that's trying to make this building happen. So I'll give you a little bit of background of why it's important to have this building happening and how it's impacting your life. I think is more important, right? So I think a lot of people don't realize who Nikola Tesla was and how huge of an influence he has on your daily operational life. And I'm talking about just things from going to the internet to being able to turn on your lights to just listening to the radio on your way into work, things like you break your foot and you're, oh man, I got to get an x-ray, a very huge impact on your daily life. So I'm standing here behind the laboratory. This building is an old building built in 1901. And ultimately, at its peak, it was really in functional use until about 1903. 1930 or so, this building fell to disrepair, ultimately purchased and built into a factory by another organization. We've since acquired the property. We're a non-for-profit. We're going to restore this. But we're not just talking about history. We're talking about history in relationship to now and history in relationship to the future. Nikola Tesla himself was about being different, being unique, thinking outside of the box, and not being that cookie-cutter shape what everyone else demands you to be. And because of that, he was able to make this astronomical technology, simple things like wireless charging, right? You charge your phone. Some of you may charge your phone with these wireless chargers now that are really getting popular these days in Asia. Well, that kind of functional use is essentially, not quite the way they use it now, but it's a mini Tesla coil. A mini Tesla coil on your phone, it's a power and receiver, and you're able to take your phone and charge it. Right. The nanoid that was ultimately led to the discovery of the creation of the internet was created by Nikola Tesla. He envisioned the world in a way that, to quote him, not a paraphrase quote, a device that you can have in your pocket that would be able to send messages and images to people all over the world. This was in 1900, right? So he was thinking about it. He was out there, and we think about these things now. And if you want to do an exercise, just put yourself in your position that you are right now and say some absurdity of what you think may happen in about 120 years from now. And then think about that, how possible it is. Are we going to teleport? Are we going to do this? And how asinine or crazy he must have sounded at that particular point. I'll give you a perfect example of how crazy people thought he really was. And crazy is an understatement, really, because the reality is crazy is just the normal for a different period of time, especially for an inventor. In the city, he had created this teleautomaton, which is a remote control device. And he's driving this remote control boat device, and he puts it in the water, and he's got a remote control. Now, everyone all over is basically in a horse and buggy, having conversations. There's no technology. And he's driving the boat around. People had basically mocked him and thinking there's a monkey in there, there's someone who's doing something, there's some black magic stuff happening. No, it's technology. And at that particular point, people just couldn't fathom it. So you guys can follow me over to the tower base. I'll give you a little bit of perspective of what is happening here. So Nikola Tesla had a 187-foot tower base. Most of the trees here on our property are about 60 or so feet in height. So it's 3 of those stacked together. What he was trying to accomplish is ground resonance. Ground resonance, or resonance itself, is kind of this frequency in sound that allows you to really travel through energy, travel at a particular pitch. So everything has resonance, no matter what you do, whether it's a stone, whether it's a building, everything has a particular frequency, whether you are as a human. He was trying to take that and be able to use ground resonance to transport energy. And in that process, unfortunately, he was never able to accomplish it, but his failure is our success, because there are many different failures throughout his life that have pointed him and shown that he's had a daily impact on your life. You know, things like this particular tower base, wireless energy is a very popular thing. While it's not functional for your everyday use for every single thing, it is something that ultimately is possible. There are organizations like Amazon that are using warehouses now of wireless power to do some of these robots that they have for their shipping boxes. There's a lot going on with wireless energy, and because of the way it is, there's this thing called the skin effect, right? Which, when you radiate wireless energy, there's a radiation field that goes around you, and it sounds awful, but the skin effect basically allows you to not, there's nothing that's going to hurt you in wireless energy. And for Nikola Tesla himself, he understood this, he was studying, he was trying to figure it out. We're actually standing over tunnels right now that are about 100 feet or so deep. And like I said, he was trying to study the ground resonance here. He wasn't able to accomplish his project, but all in all, I think pretty amazing guy. I hope you guys agree with me. Why don't you walk over to the tower base and, you know, he's your grid. If Nikola Tesla wasn't around and everyone else had their way, we would have to have power grids every mile or so in order to power your everyday life. And that's assuming if you can afford it, because the reality of the matter is the way that Nikola Tesla has structured most of his life was about we the people and being inclusive and talking about ways to get people involved, not limit people and make a dollar. So if you take out anything from these conversations, think that being an innovator, being different, being unique is a positive, right? And standing out, sometimes society can give you some things that make you feel a little uncomfortable, a little bit of haste, and want to put you back into the norm. But be yourself, be different, be passionate, whatever you do, follow your dream. Nikola Tesla may have not been the proven individual at the time, while he was a highly prestigious person at the time. Now, we can look back at all of his inventions and everything that he's done with his 100+ patents that he currently has and how they've impacted your life. And there's by far no scientist across the globe that has impacted your daily life more than Nikola Tesla. And that's why we're here. Welcome, everyone. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about a really nice stone. And I don't mean that as in it's really nice. I mean that as in this is really a nice stone. So this is actually a stone that's spelled with a G, and it's got electromagnetic properties. Nikola Tesla ultimately used this as his grounding rods. So if you come in real close, you'll be able to see that he's got this metal rod. Now, he's got them all throughout this tower base here, but in particular, this metal rod allowed him to transport the energy down into the ground, making sure that he was able safely to discharge anything that was going to potentially harm anyone. Now, anything that is electrical has a charge until it's grounded, right? By allowing to have a proper ground, this rod in particular goes down. We're not 100% sure if it's about 100 feet, but it's rather deep, right? And I'm sure it's corroded since then, but he also used these rods as a way to anchor down his tower base. So they were multi-purpose, multi-purpose use, along with the stone that's surrounding it to make sure that it was protected and further tapped into the ground resonance inside of this tower base.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up. So I would like to have Doug just kind of wrap this up, tell you a little bit of the history of what's going to actually happen with this property and what they're doing in the future. So I'm going to have Seda hand over to Doug, and he'll wrap this up for you guys.
Hi, guys. Welcome back. So just want to talk to you a little bit about the project. Now, we all know this is a dilapidated building that I'm standing behind. What you don't know is that this building is going to be restored and be brought back to ultimately the 21st century. We're all about innovation, we're all about the future, and we're all about what is next. And inside of this property, this particular building is going to be restored to have a very nice exhibit. You from California will be able to visit, as there's going to be a virtual exhibit that allows you to get involved. We're all about innovation, we're all about science, education, having people on site, and having a good time. I hope one day you can visit. We'll also be restoring the laboratory. Inside of the laboratory, we'll be putting everything in that impacts your daily life as a result of Nikola Tesla. We will also have an accelerator space. An accelerator space, if you decide you wanted to build a company one day, and you want to be an innovator, and you want to think differently, give us a phone call, because we're the people that will help you make that happen, right? As an accelerator space, you can think of it as a conglomerate group of individuals that are outside of the box thinkers, that are in the fields of engineering, that are in the fields of electricity, are innovators, inventors, those types of individuals that come in, and we put them in an area all together, and they help one another, and we help them. So I hope one day I can inspire you to start a business, be innovative, think differently, and you can come visit us here on the site. Thank you, everyone.
All right, so unfortunately, we got to get back to school on Monday, so I probably should head back to California. So I'll see you guys pretty soon. But before we leave, I just want you to take a minute and think about how powerful you are and what you can do if you're willing to think outside the box and if you're willing to try things. And some people might call you a little crazy, some people might call you a little nuts, but if you have an idea and you want to get something done, don't let anybody stop you. As evidence what Nikola Tesla did, if every day you pick up your cell phone, you play your video games, you watch your TV, you listen to the radio, you listen to satellite radio, anything, all based on Nikola Tesla's just wanting to improve society, wanting to make life better for humanity around him. It wasn't so much about the money or things of that nature. It was about making society a better place. So remember that when you are going off into the world and you are doing wonderful things, don't let anybody stop you. Be as powerful as you want to be. See you in California, guys. Bye-bye. Now that was quite a whirlwind trip. I really hope you enjoyed that, and I hope the message you got from that is that all of you really have the power to create anything you want and do anything you want. Tesla took these inventions from hundreds of years ago. People thought he was nuts, but look at what it's done to our society today, and all these that we actually currently use and we think nothing of. Don't ever forget to use the power of your ideas and always strive for them. I'm ready to go to bed, so let's call it a night, and I'll see you soon. We'll talk a little bit about transformers, power plants, and generators. Have a great night, guys. I'm tired. Bye-bye.